first and foremost, that it wasn't solved, that there wasn't an answer, there was no justice served in this. Being in law enforcement at the time the offense originally occurred, I was aware of it. To actually be hands-on and going through the files, reading the reports, reviewing the interviews and all the supplements, the tips that came in, the leads that were pursued, I just felt like we could be doing more. Instead of just waiting for more tips to come in, why can't we start from the beginning again and reinvestigate every tip, every lead from the beginning to present day?
You have had some newer evidence, correct? So
That's correct.
Talk to me a little bit about that and where we are in that stage.
So with technology always advancing and the forensic evidence that was presented at that time, we've been able to move forward with new process and procedures in order to possibly produce additional leads.
And that includes paint chips, right?
Yes.
So tell me the story about the paint chips.
So Sandra was found with some paint chips on her clothing, on the second layer of clothing that she was wearing at the time. Those paint chips were sent to the state crime lab in order to try and develop a chemical makeup. We were not successful in developing a specific vehicle from those paint chips. However, as persons of interest are presented, we are comparing their paint chips to the paint chips recovered off of her person to determine if they are a match.
And when you say their paint chips, you're talking about vehicles that they drive or may have driven?
Yeah, that they were in control or operating.
So where are these paint chips now, and how long are we waiting to get the results back?
They are currently with the state crime lab, and it could be anywhere from 2 to 6 months.
Is that because of backup, or is that just because it takes that long to analyze?
I really am not sure about that.
Okay. So talk to me too a little bit about, you know, what it has been like to I don't want to say reopen because it's always been an open case, but to go back and talk to some individuals again. I mean, what's that process been like for you? Do you feel like you're getting anything from anyone?
I do feel like the case is moving in a forward direction. I would like to see a little bit more momentum. I would like to see more community outreach and subjects coming forward. I believe that people know more than what we are being told. I feel like there are some parties involved that maybe are showing loyalty, that it's time to come forward, it's time to talk, it's time to talk to us and let us know what happened that night, who is involved.
Time to cut a deal?
Yes, yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the condition of Sandra's body.
Sandra's body had injuries from the head, neck, torso, arms, and legs. I mean, there was very few areas on her that had not sustained some type of a trauma. It is believed that there was an assault and then possibly a vehicular assault in addition to the initial assault. The cause of death, I think, is the combination of those two assaults and then left here to die.
And that's literally what you all believe happened, right? Because tell me a little bit about what you're talking about before, that she may have been alive when she was thrown in the ditch. So
Sandra was covered in vegetation, mud, leaves, grass. She was partly clothed. She was face down. I believe that due to the condition of her body and the saturation of mud that she had spent some time in this final resting place. It was brought to our attention almost immediately after her body was discovered that witnesses in the area had heard a woman screaming for help that night. We believe that those screams did come from Sandra.
So for a family, that's tough because she was alive for a while in this ditch.
Yeah.
What is, was she sexually assaulted?
Not that we believe. I don't think that there was a sexual motive behind this.
The reason I ask is she's partially clothed.
Right.
What's the indicator there?
Her clothing appears to be ripped, which I believe was her attempts to escape the assault, the initial assault, literally running out of your clothing. I feel like the clothes in the position that they were found could have been from her trying to escape and from her being drugged under a vehicle.
And were you ever able to find any place where that vehicular assault might have happened? Mm-hmm. And no indication on the asphalt here at that time? Or, Could we be looking at more than one person as a suspect?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And at this point, we haven't ruled out male or female. Both could be involved.
Was there any history up to the point of her being found dead that could have be any indication that she could have been a target?
I do believe this was a targeted act. I don't feel like it was a random act. I don't feel like robbery was a motive or a sexual assault was a motive.
You think it was personal, or was it maybe drug related?
Either one of those are plausible.
Clearly, there was a lot of, there was something personal about the fact that someone go to that length to assault someone physically and then try to run them over. What does that tell you when you profile someone?
They're emotional about it. There was passion.
Sorry, say that again.
They were emotional about it. They were passionate about it. They were angry with her.
You spent some time with her family lately. Talk to me a little bit about how getting to know them makes you even more motivated to bring them peace and justice.
Getting to know her mom, I feel like I've developed a personal relationship with Sandra. I've only known Sandra a handful of times prior to this incident, and after working this case, I feel like she's family. I've been very close with her mother, her sisters. We've had interactions with her son. They deserve answers. They deserve to know what happened to her. Her son deserves to know what happened to his mother. Her mother deserves to know what happened to her daughter. And we value life. I value life. Our whole department values life. And to not be able to give that answer or that justice, in my opinion, is just not acceptable.
Do you feel like you're closer than you were?
Absolutely. Every day.
I ask this question usually when I go to crime scenes like this, and I know it's very CSI television, but you know, how often is it that the perpetrator lives just within a few blocks and could be watching us out here talking right now?
I feel like there's a fair shot.
Or at least someone who knows something, right?
Yes. Yes.
So last question for you, what's your plea to the community?
To come forward, to meet with me. I don't need to know your name. I don't need to know where you live. I just need to have a conversation with you. I've made it a personal and a professional goal to solve this crime. I will not give up. I will not stop until I know every lead is exhausted or I've put somebody in jail for this. This is not going to close. This is just not going to go away and become an unsolved case. That's just not something I'm going to accept.